Lesson 6.3, solve equations with rational coefficients. First, we're going to start with decimal coefficients. And remember, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So if a coefficient is a decimal, divide each side by the coefficient. So if we look at letter A, we have 6 and 4/10 equals 8/10 times m. So again, I want to figure out what does m equal here. And I recognize that I'm taking 8/10 times n, so I'm going to divide both sides by 8/10, because division and multiplication are opposite of each other. So I take 6 and 4/10 divided by 8/10, I get 8. Bring down my equal signs, the 8/10 reduced to 1, so I have m. So m equals 8. Okay, letter B, the same way. We're going to treat these as if it's the same thing as a whole number here, okay, but we're just working with decimals. We have negative 2 and 8/10 p equals 4 and 2/10. I need to figure out what p is here. So I look to see, what am I doing, what operation? Well, I'm taking negative 2 and 8/10 times p. I know the opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2 and 8/10. Okay, negative 2 and 8/10 divided by negative 2 and 8/10 reduces to 1, so I have p left, equals 4 and 2/10 divided by negative 2 and 8/10 is negative 1 and 5/10. Same thing on letter C. I have negative 4 and 7/10 k equals negative 10 and 81/100. Again, I want to get k by itself. I recognize that I'm multiplying, so I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4 and 7/10. Okay, my negative 4 and 7/10 and negative 4 and 7/10 reduced to 1, so I have k left, equals negative 10 and 81/100 divided by negative 4 and 7/10 is 2 and 3/10. Okay? Letter D, suppose the ice cream cone cost $2.80 each. How many ice cream cones could the coach buy with $42? So I'm trying to figure out how many cones can this coach buy for $42. Well, I know that it's $2.80 per cone, and then I have $42. Well, when I'm trying to figure this out, I need to find my variable. My variable will be, how many cones do I have? So I know I'm going to take 280 times however many cones I have, and that has to equal $42. Okay, so again, I recognize I'm multiplying, so I'm going to divide both sides by $2.80. These reduce down to 1, so I have C equals 42 divided by $2.80 would be 15. So this coach could buy 15 cones. Okay. The next thing, we're going to work with fraction coefficients. Recall that two numbers with a product of 1 are called the multiplicative inverse or reciprocals. So if the coefficient in a multiplication equation is a fraction, we multiply each side by the reciprocal of the coefficient. So if we look at letter E, we have 1/2 x equals 8. Again, I want to know, what does x equal here? I want to find the value of x. So I recognize that I'm taking 1/2 times x, and I know that the opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I'm going to divide each side by 1/2. Okay, my 1/2's here reduced to 1, so I have x. Now, I have 8 divided by 1/2. That's our complex fraction. And when we have a complex fraction, we take our numerator, so I have 8 over 1, divided by my denominator, which is 1/2. To divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. To multiply fractions, you multiply straight across, so 8 times 2 is 16. 1 times 1 is 1. 16 over 1 reduces down to 16. So x equals 16. Okay, letter F, I have negative 3/4 x equals 9. Again, I want to know, what does x equal here? I know I'm multiplying, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3/4. Okay, those reduce to 1, so I have x. Now I have 9 divided by negative 3/4. That's our complex fraction. We take numerator divided by denominator. So I have 9 over 1 divided by negative 3/4. To divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So 9 over 1 times negative 4 over 3. When I multiply fractions, I can cross simplify. I know I can take a 3 out of 9 and 3. So I have 3 and 1. I can multiply straight across. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. 1 times 1 is 1. I reduce it, so I'd get negative 12. Okay, letter G. We have negative 7/8 x equals negative 21 over 64. Again, I want to solve for x. I know I'm multiplying, so I'm going to divide both sides by 7/8. Okay, my negative 7/8 and negative 7/8 reduced to 1, so I'm left with x. I have my complex fraction, so I'm going to take negative 21 over 64 divided by negative 7/8. Okay, to divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So negative 21 over 64 times negative 8 over 7. I'm going to cross simplify. It'll be 3 and 1, 1 and 8. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply. Negative 3 times negative 8, or negative 1 is 3. 8 times 1 is 8. So I would have x equals 3/8. And I cannot simplify my 3/8 any farther because nothing goes into 3 that goes into 8 besides 1.